Shut the up. Here you go already.
Get out.
Shut
Get
up.
out.
Shut
Stupid
up.
ass. Tell me that. Telling me that.
Shut
It's not gonna be
up.
good. Who the you think is scared of you?
Just when you thought Angela Dean couldn't surprise us anymore, she has done it again. The reality star is back in the spotlight, and this time it's not just about her relationship with Michael. She has found herself in some serious hot water after a wild scene in the courtroom that totally caught everyone off guard. Well, Angela got arrested after a major outburst in front of the judge, leaving his legal team in shock. What was supposed to be a routine hearing in her divorce proceedings turned into chaos when Angela started yelling at the judge and claiming the court was out to get her. It wasn't just a little freak out. It was a full-on meltdown that disrupted the whole process and forced the judge to step in. Her arrest wasn't just about her yelling. It was because she completely ignored the rules of the courtroom and the judge's authority. Meanwhile, Michael just sat there keeping his cool while Angela's emotions got out of control, but the difference between his calmness and her outburst really ramped up the tension.
Shut up. You have no. You don't know what I do.
Sit down and respect.
Why don't you sit me down,
You are
bitch?
unrespectful.
Sit me down.
Sit down.
me down.
Sit down and have some respect
You
for
don't know what I
everybody.
The courtroom was buzzing with tension as Angela and Michael faced off in one of the last hearings of their divorce. The stakes were high, not just about ending their marriage, but also about splitting up their assets, which had been a huge point of debate when the judge walked in and started the proceedings. You could feel Angela's frustration right away. She was shifting, sitting in her seat, crossing and uncrossing her arms and shooting icy glares at Michael. It was obvious she was struggling to keep her cool as things got underway. Angela's agitation only got worse. She was fidgeting like crazy, tapping her fingers on the table impatiently. At one point, she even started pacing behind her chair, her body language screaming impatience and barely containing anger. Her face was tense, and her brows furrowed as she listened to the judge, being unhappy with how things were going. People in the courtroom described her as a ticking time bomb. Her frustration bubbling just below the surface was ready to explode. She clenched her fists and muttered under her breath, trying hard not to interrupt, but on the other side, Michael was the complete opposite, calm and collected. He sat quietly listening to the judge without showing any signs of stress or anger. He would glance at Angela occasionally but mostly kept his focus on the proceedings. Behavior was different from Angela's visible agitation, as if he was letting the court do its thing while being confident that the truth would come out. However, things took a dark turn when the judge started talking about Michael's request for requested division and compensation for the emotional pain he claimed to have suffered during their marriage, which seemed to set Angela off. She interrupted the judge mid-sentence, her voice rising as she accused the court of being biased. "This whole thing is rigged," Angela shouted, her voice echoing through the courtroom. "You're all against me and you're letting him walk all over me." Her allegations were loud and filled with anger, completely ignoring the courtroom formalities. Despite the judge's attempts to regain control and his warnings for Angela to calm down, she kept shouting, waving her hands in frustration, and accusing the judge of favoring Michael. The atmosphere in the courtroom got even more tense as Angela's accusations became more personal, targeting the judge in the whole legal process. Each warning from the judge seemed to fall on deaf ears as Angela's voice got louder, and the final straw came when Angela crossed the line in a surprising moment. She directed her anger straight at the judge, threatening to use her fame and media influence to ruin his reputation if he didn't side with her. "You don't know who you're messing with," Angela said, her voice dripping with defiance. "I will make sure everyone knows how unfair you are." This was the moment everything changed. Angela's threat wasn't just a breach of courtroom decorum. It was a direct challenge to the judge's authority. That's when the judge, who had been trying to keep his cool, finally snapped with a strong look and steady voice. The judge ordered Angela's immediate arrest for contempt of court. The decision was final, leaving no room for negotiation. The already tense courtroom erupted into chaos as officers rushed to restrain Angela. She kept shouting as they approached, and her lawyer, who had been trying to keep her calm, stood there helpless as he was unable to stop what was happening. But Angela was still yelling as the officers decided to put her in handcuffs.
"Your wife kept saying, 'Give me my visa.' That's your personal documents. That's something I want you to
You
understand."
can tell him to shut his.
I am not shutting my mouth.
After getting LED out of the courtroom in handcuffs, Angela was put in a holding cell to chill out before being taken to the local jail, but even behind bars, Angela didn't hold back. Reports say she kept yelling at the officers and refused to cooperate, which only made things worse for her. This stubbornness was classic. Angela has the same fiery personality that made her famous on 90 Day Fiancé, but this time it was clear her attitude was backfiring instead of calming down. She was just digging herself deeper into trouble. Meanwhile, legal experts also think her behavior could hurt her chances in the divorce settlement by openly defying the judge and losing control. She has put herself in a spot where the court might not take her allegations seriously. The already tricky asset division could swing in Michael's favor, with the judge possibly punishing Angela for her courtroom antics. She would also face hefty fines for contempt, adding to her growing list of legal issues. But Angela's courtroom drama might not just mess with her divorce. It could lead to even bigger legal problems given her threats toward the judge. There's a chance she could face criminal charges if those comments are seen as intimidation. Threatening a judge is a big deal, and the legal system doesn't take that lightly. If her threats are taken seriously, Angela could find herself in even more trouble, turning her family dispute into a case. This would complicate her situation even more and could lead to jail time, fines, and a hit to her already shaky public image. Clip 4, 534. While Angela was having a meltdown, Michael's legal team jumped on Angela's outburst, using it to their advantage. They pointed out her inability to control her temper, arguing that it showed she was reckless and emotionally unstable. They claimed Angela's behavior wasn't just a one-off but part of a pattern, reflecting the emotional chaos she brought into her marriage. This portrayal played right into Michael's case, giving solid evidence that he deserved compensation for the emotional distress he faced and reinforcing that he should get a fair share of their assets. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, fans' reaction to Angela's arrest was just as harsh as her behavior on reality TV. A person commented saying that was a court of law, not the Moore show. She absolutely deserves punishment for disrespecting the judge in court the way she did. She is a grown woman and needs to be held responsible for her actions. Another one added, it doesn't matter who you think you are if you threaten a judge. She needs to be facing time in prison. Looking ahead, there are a lot of questions about what's next for Angela. If she keeps up with her threats to the judge, she could end up with even more charges, making her divorce proceedings worse. People are starting to worry about how she handles legal issues, which could impact any future cases she gets into, whether they're related to the situation or not. With every mistake she makes, Angela risks not just her legal standing, but also her reputation as a reality TV star and public figure. If she's looking for a way to bounce back, it's going to be a tough climb. Meanwhile, Michael is staying focused on getting justice for himself and making sure the court sees the real story behind Angela's wild behavior. His calm and collected approach is a big difference to Angela's lifestyle. This strategy seems to be working, and Michael's legal team will probably keep using Angela's blunders to their advantage as the case moves forward. While Angela's future looks pretty uncertain, Michael's determination to see this through to a fair outcome is stronger than ever. So what do you guys think? Will Angela find a way to regain control of her narrative, or will her latest outburst be the defining moment that tips the scales permanently in Michael's favor? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates.